So, in the last lecture, we have discussed the bound current densities. Simply, what is the bound current densities here? Simply, we know that simply we can say that if we say that this is the sphere and this sphere is the magnetized sphere, this is x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. If we say that this is the sphere and this sphere is a magnetized sphere, we have to see what are the bound current densities due to this magnetized sphere. We know that if we calculate the vector potential at that point due to this magnetized sphere, the vector potential is defined as, here this is the point where we want to calculate the vector potential. This point is located at a distance r from this center, and this is the angle theta. This is the reference axis, which we call it as a k-axis. So here we have seen that the vector potential at this point is defined as a vector r, which is the function of the position r, is equal to mu naught over 4 pi into integral m cross unit vector upon r square. So this is the vector potential at a distance r due to this dipole. Clear? Instead of a dipole, we can write it in the form of the polarization, in the form of the magnetized material. So this magnetic dipole moment can be converted into the magnetization. In the last lecture, we have seen that A, which is a function of r, is equal to mu naught over 4 pi into the integral j of b upon r square r into theta plus mu naught over 4 pi integral, this is the volume integral, so this is the integral over volume, and this is the surface integral sigma of b, sorry, k of b upon r into dA. This is the integral over the surface. So here the total vector potential is the potential due to the volume contribution of the charges and the surface contribution of the charges. So these charges are in motion. So this JB, which is known as the volume current densities of the bound charges, and this KB is the surface current densities of the bound charges, because these charges which gives rise the magnetic dipole moment is because of the bound charges, because the electron is orbiting around the nucleus and that electron is bound inside the material. We call it as a volume current densities. On the surface of the material, we call it as a surface current densities. So this JB is equal to or known as bound, this is bound volume current densities. And this KB is equal to bound surface current density. So this JB, we have seen that this JB is equal to curl of M, and this KB is equal to M cross N. N is the unit vector which shows the direction of the vector potential. It means this is the direction of the vector potential where we want to calculate. So this is the direction of M. So the magnetization, if we say that the magnetization M is in this direction, if we say that, then N is in this direction, it means this is the angle between them. So M cross unit vector N is equal to Mn sine of angle between them. And here the sine of angle between them is theta. And this JB indicates the curl of M. Curl of M means gives rise the rotation of M along the x-axis, y-axis as well as z-axis if we consider it in the three-dimensional. So this is what we have discussed in our last lecture. So now we have to look at one of the problem is, okay, we have to find out the magnetic field due to the magnetized sphere. This is the magnetized sphere. We have to find out the magnetic field due to magnetized sphere. So here, this is the sphere, and we say that this sphere is a magnetized sphere, and the magnetic field or magnetization is the uniform magnetization. It means the all the dipole moments per unit volume is distributed uniformly. And we have to look at what is the magnetic field. We have to find out the magnetic field due to magnetization. This is the example 6.1. So here we know that the J of B is equal to curl of M. If we say that for the uniform magnetization, the curl, rotation, or it gives the change, this curl gives the change of this with respect to x, y, and z. So if it is uniform, if it is constant, then curl of M is equal to 0. So for uniform magnetization, for uniform, we can call it as uniform or constant magnetization. Curl of M is equal to 0. It means rotation of M is 0 because this M is a uniform. So therefore J of B is equal to 0. The second thing is K of B. It means we have to find out this, and this K of B is equal to M cross N. So this M cross N is equal to Mn sine of angle theta, and it is along phi axis. It means this N may be in this direction, this N may be in this direction, this N may be in this direction, this N may be in this direction. In every direction N. N is the vector which is normal to the surface of the sphere. So N may be in any direction. So as a general, this gives you the azimuthal angle. And this azimuthal angle, we call it as a phi angle. And this phi angle varies from 0 to 2 pi. The minimum value is 0. The maximum value of the azimuthal angle is equal to 2 pi. So here, this KB is equal to M sine of angle phi. So now we know that in the chapter number 5, we have seen that the magnetic field due to the magnetized sphere is, in the chapter number 5, we have seen that, or KB, if we say that if the sphere is spinning, in the case of spinning sphere, if we say that the sphere is spinning, then K, current density, is equal to sigma into V. V is the spinning velocity, sigma is the surface charges on the sphere. So this sigma V can be written as omega into R. Omega is the angular velocity and r is the radius. This can be written as a sigma omega r into sine of angle theta. So this k, this is, let's say, equation number 1, this is equation number 2, this is equation number 3. So this kb is the bound current densities due to the surface current, and which is equal to m sine of angle phi. But on the same way, if the sphere is spinning, then the K current density, surface current density is equal to this. So both current densities are the same. So therefore, we can compare equation 2 and 3. We get, compare equation 2 and 3. We get, I'm writing it here. So comparing, we get here m sine of angle theta is equal to k omega r sine of angle theta. I have compared this equation with this equation. This side is equal to this side. So I have just given the comparison. So this sine theta will cancel. Magnetization m is equal to k omega r. So in the case of the spinning sphere, if we say that this sphere is a magnetized due to the magnetic field, external magnetic field. One thing you must remind, that when we are saying that the magnet, it is magnetized, it means magnetized means it is placed in an external magnetic field, and its dipole moment is either aligned in the same direction or opposite to the magnetic field. If they are aligned parallel to the external magnetic field, then that material is known as a paramagnetic material. If they are aligned opposite to the applied magnetic field, opposite to the external magnetic field, then such material is a diamagnetic material. This should be clear. So this, if this the same sphere is not magnetized but it is spinning, the spinning of the material can generate a magnetization. So this magnetization is known as this, sorry, sigma. This is the sigma. Sigma is the surface charge density. Omega is its angular velocity, rotational velocity, angular velocity, and r is the radius. It means if we have this radius, if we like that, this is the radius sphere, this is another sphere. Its radius is r, its radius is small r, let's say. Both spheres are spinning with the same angular velocity. Then the magnetization whose radius is large will be higher than whose radius is small. Then the magnetization is directly proportional to the radius for the spinning sphere. The magnetization is directly proportional to the angular velocity. The magnetization is directly proportional to the surface charge density of the spinning sphere. So it means if the sphere is spinning, the spinning sphere get magnetized, and the magnetization is depending upon the radius of the sphere, angular velocity, and the surface charges on the sphere. So here, this is the magnetization. We know that, in chapter number 5, the magnetic field due to magnetized material or magnetized sphere is M or D is equal to 2 upon 3 mu naught into M. This is the magnetic field due to the magnetized sphere. This what we know in chapter number 5, that we have a sphere and this sphere is a magnetized sphere. Then the magnetic field inside it is equal to 2 upon 3 mu naught into M. M is known as a magnetization, and this magnetization is known as a dipole moment per unit volume. Yesterday we have seen that the magnetization is the dipole moment per unit volume, and this magnetization is the M per unit volume. क्या होता है if we have a sphere 4 upon 3 pi r cube. So this M can be replaced in the this equation can be rewrite in the form of the dipole moment. This is M is the magnetization and this small m is a dipole moment. So this dipole moment M is equal to M into V. So you can convert it into the equation of M into V. This can be rewrite as a B is equal to 2 upon 3 mu naught. This M is equal to sigma omega R. This is the magnetic field. This can be rewrite like that. Or this can be rewrite as B is equal to 2 upon 3 mu naught into M. So this can be rewrite as 2 upon 3 mu naught. M is the magnetic dipole moment per unit volume and volume is the 4 upon 3 pi r cube. So here it is equal to 3 cancel, 2 cancel. So here this is equal to 1 upon 2 mu naught M upon pi r cube. So the magnetic field can be rewrite in this form. So these are the two different equations of the magnetic field produced by the magnetized sphere. If the sphere is spinning, it will generate a magnetic field which is equal to this. It means this omega is the surface charge density of this spinning sphere, and omega is its angular velocity, and r is the radius of this sphere. This can be rewrite also in this form. So this is the example that how to calculate the magnetic field due to the magnetized sphere. So this is one of the example or one of the problem of the magnetization. So now we have to look at what are the Ampere's law in the magnetized material. Okay, how to calculate the Ampere's law in the magnetized material. So Ampere's law in the magnetized material. So Ampere's law in the magnetized material. Simply, let's say, what is the Ampere's law? If we say that this is the wire, the current I is flowing in the wire. This is the current I flowing in the wire. You know that Ampere's law states that consider a wire in which the current I is flowing. It will generate a magnetic field around the current carrying wire. If the current is flowing in this direction, the magnetic field is produced around the wire in the form of these concentric circles. In the form of these concentric circles. This is the magnetic field around this. This is the, we say this is small element dl. This sum of all dl, the magnetic field is around this. So the line integral b dot dl over the integral along the closed path, because this dl is the closed path, is equal to mu naught times the current. This is the Ampere's law. Ampere's law states that the magnetic field around the closed path is equal to mu naught times the current enclosed into the closed path. So Ampere's law states that the magnetic field around the closed path is equal to the mu naught times current into the closed path. So here, if we grip the wire in the hand, this is the right hand, grip the wire in the hand, the thumb pointing the direction of the current, and these curved fingers indicates the direction of the magnetic field produced by this current carrying wire. So this is known as Ampere's law. So now we have to look at if this material in which the current is flowing, this is not an ordinary material, this is the material which can be magnetized. So now we have to look at if this material is magnetized, then how the Ampere's law will change in this magnetized material. So this is the general Ampere's law, this I is the current flowing through it. So now, in the case of current flowing in the wire, and if the wire is a magnetized wire, then there are two type of charges. One is the free charges, means the electrons are flowing from one point to another point, which gives rise the current. And the second is the bound charges, which gives rise the magnetic field. It means the electrons are orbiting around the nucleus, and their magnetic dipole moment is aligned due to this current, due to this magnetic field, because this magnetic field which is generated by this current can align this the magnetic moments, magnetic dipoles in this, because the same magnetic field is passing through this material. If we say that here, this is the wire, if we take a thick wire here, if the current is flowing in this wire, the magnetic field is also produced inside the wire, inside, and then the magnetic field produced also outside the wire. So it means this magnetic field which is produced inside the wire, if this material of the wire is the magnetized material, then this magnetic field can magnetize this material. So as a resultant, the magnetic field of this material increases. So the magnetic field inside the material can also increase. So inside the material, there may be the magnetization M, which is the magnetization per unit volume. And this magnetization, which is directly proportional to the applied magnetic field, is because the same magnetic field is produced inside the wire. It means that though such magnetic field which produce outside, the similar magnetic field is also produced inside. So we have to look at, okay, what is the magnetic field inside? Because outside there is no material, outside there is air. There is air. So the magnetization effect in the outside is zero. We have to look at the magnetization effect inside using Ampere's law. So here this is the Ampere's law. B dot dl is equal to mu naught I. So we have a current I. We have to convert this current in the current density. The current density current density J is defined as the current per unit volume. This is the current density. So J into deta into integral is the current. This can be rewrite as the current. So this equation becomes curl of B dot dl is equal to mu naught. This current can be rewrite as a d into deta. So here there is a line integral, one dimensional integral. Here is a three dimensional integral, triple integral. So we have to convert this line integral into the volume integral by using Stokes theorem. So here the line integral can be converted into volume integral by taking the curl of a vector B. The line integral can be converted into volume integral by taking the curl of vector B. So this curl of vector B, this line integral is converted into volume integral. This is now the volume integral is equal to mu naught J deta. So volume integral on both sides is the same, that can be cancelled out. So curl of B is equal to mu naught J. J is the total current densities. J is the total current density which is due to the free charges plus bound charges. It means this J is the total current density which is due to the free and bound. Free means free electrons which are moving in the wire. Free means free electrons which are moving in the wire. Bound means those electrons which are orbiting in the atoms. So here this JB curl of MB is equal to mu naught. This is J of F plus J of B. So this is free, this is bound. Free means free electrons which gives rise a current. Bound means which are orbiting electrons. So this curl of B is equal to mu naught JF plus mu naught JB. And JB is equal to, we know that, plus mu naught JB is equal to curl of M. We have seen that JB is equal to curl of M. This can be rewrite in this side. Mu is taken as a common here. So this is mu is a cross multiplication, 1 upon mu naught curl of B is equal to J plus curl of M. So this can be bringing into this side, 1 upon mu naught curl of B minus curl of M is equal to J. This can be rewrite as curl can be taken as a common. This is B upon mu naught minus, this is M, sorry, minus M is equal to J. So this is the equation now. Here, if we look here, curl of B upon mu naught minus M is equal to J. This can be written as H. This H is a constant which is equal to B upon mu naught minus M. This is the H. This equation can be rewrite as by integrating over the volume. Here, integrating over the volume, integrating both sides over the volume. So here again this can be written as HDL. The volume integral is converted into linear integral, line integral by omitting the curl. So this can be written as J dot dA is equal to I. This is known as a J, sorry, here this is the J and this J is the JF, which is the free charges. This is the JF basically, and this is IF. So this H dot DL into IF is known as the Ampere's law in the magnetized materials. So this is known as the Ampere's law in the magnetized material. If we look at it, हमने क्या किया है simply? हमने क्या किया है कि this curl of B is equal to mu naught J. This J is the total current density, which is free plus bound. Free due to those charges which are free electrons, and bound which are orbiting electrons. I have just plugged in this value in this equation. JB, we know that this JB is equal to curl of M. I am bringing this into this side and do some mathematics. Here, this is curl of B upon mu naught minus M. M is the magnetization. Curl of H is equal to theta. So this is known as a constant H. Clear? Like in the dielectric material, the D is replaced by the H here. The same analogous. So here, J into theta, this current can be converted, current density is converted into the current by omitting the volumes. So this is the Ampere's law